We are livid.
Welcome.
One and all.
Forgive us, everyone, for being gone last week.
Yeah, we sound good, by the way.
Good. Oh, wait, hang on.
No,
No, I can't hear you.
we're live, David.
Wait, no, we're
Can't hear
good.
me?
Sorry, no, we're good. The audio levels are all weird. They're in not in a bad way. They're in like places that I didn't see, so I got nervous for a second. Never mind, we're good. So, forgive me. Sorry, boss. Sweet. Well, here we are. What were we talking about right before? Oh, the Kate Winslet news. She's gonna be in Hunt for. I was trying to think of a good joke, but I am not as sharp today as I feel like I usually am.
Dude, we just know that it's just not going to be good. I hate to say it, but and the main tell about that isn't even the things that we mentioned before in the past when discussing the lead ups to different TV shows and movies coming out.
Yeah.
And I hope it is a really good movie. I'd rather it be a great movie. However, with Viggo Mortensen stating that he would only come back for the movie or any future movies and or TV shows if the script was really good, with him not coming back to play Aragorn, that lets you know that this probably is not going to be a good movie. And also at the same time, when it was announced that Peter Jackson, the original crew, was coming back, everyone got excited. And then it was a huge letdown when they said, we're going to do the Hunt for Gollum.
Yeah.
I understand that they don't want to embark on a new trilogy right away. However,
Well,
there's certainly more interesting adaptations from The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit they could do
yeah.
than a Hunt for Gollum movie. It's just not that. It's like I don't even think there's a full page dedicated to it. Well, no, there is. There's a few pages dedicated to it, but it's the fact that they got to adapt that into a movie, and you say it's probably going to be knowing them 2.5 hours, right? If they're going to continue on the trajectory of the previous, yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of filler and color around it, which, with it being that team, could potentially serve them well in a certain regard. But it's going to be more filler content than when they made the Lord of the Rings movies when they were trying to pick what not to keep versus with the Hobbit movies, they're like, what do we need to put in? Now, I know that was a bit of a different situation with the Hobbit movies because of how Warner Brothers was at the time. Guillermo del Toro was supposed to be the one that's directing it and leading it, and then at the last minute, he left, and Peter Jackson got thrusted and into it, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But still.
Hello, Jenna.
It's not very hopeful right now for that movie.
No.
And I hate to say it because I want it to be an amazing movie.
Yeah, I wanted to.
But I
good
think
too.
it's more likely it turns out to be like The Hobbit than it does like The Lord of the Rings.
I agree. Sorry, I pulled up an article. I was trying to do this on the fly, and I think I've caused some boo-boos. Hooray for doing it live. Hooray.
That's what you do, man. But we're talking about the Rings of Power tonight.
We are.
And God of War. Are we going to be and Scream 7? And I'm assuming that Warhammer's still being made.
It is. I can look something up about it. There's a lot going on. But yeah, Kate Winslet will join Andy Serkis's Middle-earth epic, The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, in what has been described to Deadline by sources as the female lead, basically. So she'll be the female lead, whatever that means. But you said you think it'll be her or Gollum's grandmother?
Yeah, I think that's probably what they go with. I just don't even understand why there would even be a female lead in the Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum movie, outside of unless it happens to be his grandmother. They're showing like Smeagol and his time growing up, and his like what led all the events that led to him being kicked out of
I,
the stores.
I might have missed it if you said this, but that sounds incredibly boring.
Yeah, it's not something it's not something I would think would be
There,
entertaining enough to adapt an entire movie around.
this
Now,
lore.
if it's a short segment, like if she was just in it in a supporting role, it
Yeah.
would be okay. It's some type of short segment. But she's in a leading role, man. Like they need to get out of Gollum because he's a great, interesting character, but like as I said, just not interesting enough to build an entire movie around him.
So there's two things.
It's got to be. I don't mean to be derogatory towards boomers. I don't. I've gotten to where I hate using that term.
How dare you? Yeah, it's played out.
It is. But I'll say this with Peter Jackson. He has the old school mentality of like with the Hobbit movies. He thought the orcs, if I remember correctly, looked better in the Hobbit. I could be entirely wrong, but if I remember correctly, he thought the orcs looked better in the Hobbit trilogy than they did in the original trilogy because what was his reasoning that CGI could show the hardness or it took away the humanity from the orcs. That's what it was. But I think that comes from him being part of the older generation where they didn't grow up with CGI, right? And the effects. And so kind of came into it. Whereas with our generation, we were still kind of on that outside. Like, yeah, there were effects, but still a lot of practical effects going on. And then we were part of that age coming up with CGI. And so we can tell better what looks more authentic versus what looks just like computerized.
Looks cheap or just takes you out. Yeah, that's
disjointed.
It's the biggest, and this is really disappointing coming from him because, and again, I think. Okay, so let me backtrack just for a second. So something that I've noticed over the years as I've seen directors that I've really liked in their heyday kind of start to fall away as they've gotten older or their ideas about things have changed. And I would say a lot of the time for the worst. Ridley Scott, kind of Peter Jackson. Kevin Smith was like nailing those like early 90s young adult and like the feeling of that generation. And like I was younger than that, but like a lot of those movies when I first was able, like when I turned like 17 or whatever, and I was like, sweet, I can watch like every R-rated movie that's ever existed. I like rented a bunch of his movies, was watching a bunch of that stuff. And like as he got older, he moved away from a lot of that. And someone would probably know better than me. I think he had an explanation for it, or I remember hearing something about that at some point, that there was a reason for it. Like I can't remember if it was because he had a heart attack or something for him changed, and he started making these really obscure, just kind of terrible movies. Like they're there are people who like them. It's definitely a lot more niche than what he used to do. But he sort of just like it felt like he lost his way, and it, even Edgar Wright recently, he did The Running Man last year, which felt like a hired gun movie. Like it didn't really feel like his work. And then it was more in line with his work, but he did Last Night in Soho before that, and I didn't like that either. And it's one, dude. One. I
remember you not liking that movie.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're watching something from somebody you really like, and you just go, "Uh-oh."
It's disappointing.
You're like, this is
like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's gonna hit perfectly, but
no. But there's a pattern. There's trends.
This is what the Gollum. The connection I'm making is making the Gollum movie seems like an old school type mentality of, hey, this movie was really popular 20, 25 years ago. Still is popular. Everybody loves Gollum, even though this video game about Gollum massively failed. Let's make a movie about him because we'll be able to sell the Lord of the Rings name. And here's the thing. It may still do well at the box office.
It might. I mean,
Maybe.
I think that first trailer comes out. That's really that'll be
But let's just say
the
because of the name
test.
Peter Jackson and everything that it does well. And also at the same time, Andy Serkis doesn't have the best filmography, which doesn't mean everything. If he's been dedicated and working on this specific movie and script for a long time, it could still be really good,
Oh,
right? Peter Jackson was kind of no name
we are.
leading into the Lord of the Rings, but it was a
Yeah.
passion project for him.
Well, and you and I are more than capable, and we've said this many times, that we will tell you if we trash this and then go see it at the end of next year and it's amazing, we're not going to be like, no, it was terrible. Like, we'll tell you that we liked it. Like, it's not we're not going to stick so hard to our guns that we aren't able to objectively look at something like that and be like, no, actually it was good, or well, it
We've
was
done
all
it
right.
before. House of the Dragon is
yeah,
one
that
of
was
the examples.
we were definitely worried about that for sure. Let's see. So there's a couple things that I because you had mentioned this a little earlier, but one of the things I think is really funny about them deciding to pick this is that, like, you know way more about this lore than I do. Like, I have so much more reading that I have to do I have to find the time to read.
Right.
But you know a lot more about this than I do, and I have like some connection to it because I've dabbled in some like lore videos out of curiosity or just been like interested in things here and there. But there were two things that I was thinking about. One, it's weird that they pick this when you have stories about a evil guy with a gigantic spider, and then it's like you can have these incredible, like, this high fantasy stuff going on that you could like still be very like respectful of Tolkien's work and create something out of that. So that's one thing. The other thing is that this article says that Elijah Wood is coming back as Frodo Baggins. Like,
yeah, it's Vigo's not coming back, but yet Frodo and
Ian McKellen
is
Serkis,
so
obviously.
Yeah, it's like, guys, like, you can't have half the cast and
it's gonna be weird
not have the other half.
because it's a little
You're
weird.
You're trying to pull those member berries, but it's not going to work.
Well,
in my opinion. Now, maybe I'm wrong.
They tried it in The Hobbit already, and it doesn't work very well.
Nope.
And it's jarring
Vigo
because
didn't come back for that either.
Yeah, and it's jarring because you see Frodo, and he's like 10 years older than he was in the original trilogy, but he's supposed to be. It's like right before Fellowship when he's like talking, right? When he's talking to Bilbo in the first Hobbit movie.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is right before the Fellowship. Right before that journey begins. But what it is that people can't move away from nostalgia. They're mining. They can't just move forward. They're just continually to mine the past and live in the past. Rather than, hey, let's just create something new. You can incorporate that, like what we said, like Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie, part of Phase 4, did a good job of incorporating this. I don't think there's anything wrong with pulling in the past into a movie, but it's just the manner in which you do it. And I think this is a huge letdown.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, Joseph. I won't talk about it for very long because I think I finally have like a pretty good like feel for it, but the most recent Resident Evil came out a couple weeks ago, and I've been playing quite a bit of it, not because I like it, but because everybody else really, 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 really likes it, and it has like the highest Metacritic rating of any of the games in the series, and it's the most average Resident Evil game I think I've ever played. It is very average. Like, there's some stuff I like about it and some stuff I don't, but it is dude, the story is I wish I should have written down, maybe if I remember I'll do it for the next podcast episode. But
that's funny.
The story makes zero sense. It tries to do the nostalgia thing too hard, right? It takes you back to where it all began, which doesn't make sense because it got nuked off the face of the planet. Like, it's supposed to just be like a giant crater, and they're like, well, actually, so they're doing a lot of rewriting, and the game feels like two things like mashed together, So it's like they took the two types of Resident Evil games that you typically get. So you have like your survival horror, which is like item management, and you're not very strong, and if you're really good at like item management, you can survive really well, and probably want to play on a higher difficulty because enemies will do more damage, that whole deal. So that's like the one thing, and there's like in this one there's like quote unquote puzzles. They're not really puzzles. And then the other side of it is like guns and blowing up zombies and insane like motorcycle chases, and they try to blend these two things together, and it's the most jarring experience.
That's funny.
I wish I could tell you something that I would like relate it to, but it's almost something that you have to experience, and it truly is the most insane story. Like none of it makes sense. Like one of the main characters, she's an FBI agent. She's like an analyst, right? She's dumb as a bag of bricks. She doesn't like. There's all these little things that she doesn't like realize, like how to solve problems. And then I was like, well, maybe that's actually pretty accurate for the FBI. But she, she goes out into the field. Is how the game starts. Doesn't take backup. Like they know where she's kind of going. Immediately gets kidnapped. The villains like want to keep her alive, but they don't do a good job of it because they're like, we need her alive for a specific reason. The game's kind of early. I won't spoil what it is because there's some people that actually care about the story and these things. I don't know why, but and they're like, well, we need her alive, but then they put her in all of the most dangerous situations with like all of these horrific creatures, and there's like the undead and like all of this stuff, and you're like, what are y'all doing? Like it makes no sense. It is the most like, it very much is like a Frankenstein's monster of a video game. Weirdly enough, it still has a little bit of that like old that mentality of Resident Evil, but it plays really slow. Like a lot of people have. I was watching some other people's streams, try to figure out how people were feeling about it, and one of the things that kept coming up is people would hit the sprint button with her. Her name's Grace, and they'd be like, "Am I sprinting?" She moves like a slug, like she's like running. It's like she's running through molasses. Oh Lord, it's something for sure. But I decided, I was like, all right, this happens every once in a while a game. Weirdly enough, it happens more often with games that people dislike than it does, or if like I'm in disagreement with something, like if the majority of people are like, this is amazing, and I'm like, I don't see it, I'm like, fine, I guess I need to like actually have like a pretty good understanding of this so that if I ever need to have a conversation with someone about it, I'm at least like, and they're like, well, what do you know? It's like, well, I've got the platinum in the game, so like I've played it enough. Like I know I've got one more trophy I have to get and play by playing it on the hardest difficulty, and then I'll be done and deleting it off of my PlayStation. So that was something.
It's funny.
Weirdly enough, not the worst piece of entertainment that I've had to consume in the last couple of weeks, but we'll get to that later. Anything else about Hunt for Gollum?
No, it's just disappointing, man. I think it to me, announcing this movie indicated they lost touch with the audience.
Yeah.
Because if they had their pulse on the audience, someone just within Peter Jackson's circle, just within the Warner Brothers circle, this movie wouldn't be getting made because the interest on this movie, on a movie about Smeagol and Gollum, the hunt for Gollum, is very low, especially considering we already have the full completed character arc. We already know the backstory. We're just going to see a little bit of the middle, and for what purpose? I mean,
what's it going to add?
I don't know.
No, that would be the question. Why? Okay,
I don't think there's much it can add to the stories that are already set. The only thing, in my opinion, it can do is take away. I think there's a greater risk in taking away from what's been done versus adding to what's been done.
If you were Andy Serkis and we were friends, right, in a hypothetical situation, and you're Andy Serkis and you come to me and you're like, I've got this idea for like a Gollum movie. feel like one of the first questions I would ask you, if not the first, is like, are you doing this just because you miss playing the character? Like, is this like an actual like passion project because you think this is something
like a older NFL player or like professional athlete thinking about their good old days
their
and like I can come
glory
out of retirement
days?
and play. Yeah, I can come out of retirement and do it again. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Really, no disrespect to Andy, because I mean, like, he is the definitive Gollum. Like, I mean, he does a great job in those movies, but it does sort of feel like it would be. It is kind of similar to some of these guys, Ridley Scott in particular, trying to go back to the well with like Alien. You know, even with like Prometheus, and he's like, it's just like, dude, maybe you just let it go, like. And that's what I'm saying. It's just like we were talking about it. Some of them just don't have that fire anymore, you know? James Cameron's over there making CGI blue people movies.
Or just the focus and they'll pull somewhat.
Yeah. And want. Man, and you listen to like...
No, you can't really blame James Cameron, dude. I will say this. It does well at the box office. What do you know?
Yeah, but they're worried that might be done. That it
may be,
because like I think this, I can't remember if we talked about it either, but that last one didn't quite hit the numbers that they wanted, and I wonder if there's only so many times you can put big blue CGI people. I'll tell you this though, I actually have run into a couple people who are invested in this story. For what reason, I do not know. I didn't want to like be too mean about it, but I was like, what is it? Like, why? What is it about it? And it's really funny because they were trying to go into these like details about the story or whatever, and I'm like, is this what I sound like? But it's so funny because I was like, they're like trying to talk about these characters and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, it's like, okay, you are one of those people that just happens to be invested in something that I don't understand. So. Alrighty, well, I did want to talk about Rings of Power just a little bit too.
Yep.
Disappointing news about the Rings of Power Season 3 release date. I'm sure you are crying in your chair, Joseph, over the potential for this not coming out this year.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were about to say they announced it's going to be released like next month or something.
It's probably sad
that
news.
Would be really disappointing news.
Yeah.
if it was announced that it's releasing in April.
It's sad news either way because now the inevitable has just been pushed off a couple months. Yep. If so, it says Amazon stab at the Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power is one of the most expensive shows ever made. It's supposed to run for 5 seasons, but it took a while to confirm that season 3 was even coming.
Dude, there's no way we're getting season 4.
Disappointed.
Unless they cut the budget a lot, there's no way we're getting season 4.
There's actually, is this the one? I have another one. I want to play this video. Hopefully the audio will come through when I do this, but it's on another website or another news article. It's just been announced that the Rings of Power Season 3 has wrapped filming. That's great. But the actual timeline of this is less good once you do the math for the potential Season 3 release date. This is a very weird article because it does kind of feel like they were being like sly in that first thing and then being like, oh, it's sad that it's not coming out yet. It's like, okay. Season 2 wrap production in June of 23. Premiered in August of 24. 14 months of post-production. What are they doing? Why did
trying to take you through it?
How many episodes is Rings of Power? Is it 8 per season? 8. I can't remember. I don't remember at this point. I guess it's got a lot. It says
season 2 came out in 2023. That is ridiculous.
I know, dude. Is it? They
should just do the right thing and cancel the series.
It's so long. It's longer than one. This will be one of the longest breaks between like a TV show in at least recent memory. One Piece
It was pretty.
about 3
It was
years, right?
Yeah, it was pretty much season 1 and season 2 were
Uh,
2 years apart.
That's crazy.
So we're bordering on. So if season 2 released
Oh my gosh.
August 29th
It's a
of 2024, and so that means this August, right?
yeah, is
Would make it
3 years.
no 2 years.
2023.
It released in 2023.
2025. Oh no, you're
Or
right.
was it
2 years. 2 years. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm
2
looking
years.
at. There's a
It
lot of
feels-
numbers on here.
It does feel longer than that.
It feels longer than that. But it's so if the Rings of Power season 3 just wrapped production now, this was in December when they wrote this. If production has wrapped, another 14 months of post production would produce a release date in February of 2027. That's a full 2.5 years between seasons. That's a decent bit longer than the 23-month gap between season 1 and 2.
Dang, man, that's crazy, dude.
So yeah, it's done filming and someone is working hard on the VFX among other things.
It's just too long.
So
man. Too long.
it's definitely too long. We
Which,
will be
by the way, allegedly, according to Grok, Avatar: Fire and Ash only made a profit of $58 million.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yep.
That's interesting.
So the box office gross of 1.4 million, if you round it all the way up 1.5, let's say 1 million of that was international, including approximately 171 from China, and then assuming typical studio shares, which is 50% domestic, 40% international, that's non-China, then 25% China, and the total cost, which was allegedly $550 million for the production plus the $150 million marketing.
Yeah.
So production was 400 million, marketing was 150. This is all allegedly. We know they don't release the exact figures.
Yeah.
So when you include everything, yeah, only $58 million. That's wild, dude. You make $1.5 billion and only make a profit of $58 million, dude. I know $58 million is a lot of money, but not in considering the context.
No, not in the context at all. That's crazy. So yeah, we might be waiting a little bit longer. You know, the only thing that could be interesting about this, and HBO would, because they did this before and it worked out for them, sees if this isn't going to come out until potentially February of next year, Dunk and Egg, Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 2 needs to be, they need to line that up. I feel like if I was over in whatever marketing is for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms with HBO, I would be like, listen, I'm not saying we should do this, but we should keep it on our radar for when that's coming out so that we can just market the crap out of like, hey, come check us out. We're the better fantasy show. I actually had, well, maybe we'll talk about it next week. I might. Well, it depends. Let's see where we're at. We might talk a little bit about some of the casting, because they've been releasing information about the casting for season 2. So some people are worried and other people think it's funny. So we shall see. So what do you think? Rings of Power season 3, we get it next year at this point?
Probably next year.
We probably won't get an announcement. Well, maybe we'll get an announcement later this year.
Here's the over-under. How long do you think it takes for them to cancel the TV show after season 3 releases? You going over or under 6 months?
Ooh, under.
So from release date.
Under. Oh, from like what? So wait, do you mean from? No, well, it'll be. We have to go from, I think, the final episode.
Yes,
or
okay.
Because it's not really, they're not gonna cut their legs out from underneath them that hard. It'll be within 6 months of season 3 ending if they're gonna do it. I think they'll they'll I'm man, yeah, I don't, dude, it would be crazy if this thing went to all 5 seasons.
Dude, it would be crazy.
I can't wait to see like some indication of the numbers of people that are watching this. Like if it's going to chart at all. I just don't think it's there, you know? I mean, I think we both know it's not there after season 2. I am curious though. We could put it out into the world. So I'll make how about this? I'm going to make I'll try to remember where this is in the show. We're at about, what are we at? About 30 minutes in. So the question to everyone out there in the world, on wherever you happen to hear this, are you even excited about another season of Rings of Power? If so, what's I know the answer, I think. But you'd be surprised. You know as well as I do. You know, I had people comment on one of our shorts that they actually thought Egg would be proud of Daenerys. So it's, you know, people have some interesting takes. Are you excited about season 3 of Rings of Power? If so, why? And what is bringing you back? And how many of you do you think there actually are? And then for the rest of you, I know you don't like it, but you can leave comments too. Tell us why, because I don't get it. I mean, I haven't gotten it from episode 1. It's just crazy. Joseph, you know rocks sink and boats float?
Oh, yeah, right. Man, that TV show did do numbers for us, though.
It did. It probably will again. But so did Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So it's nice that something that we actually like did well for us. And I guess with that, we want to talk about a little bit of God of War.
Yeah,
this should be fun because I feel like this coming out, I think they said this year. Give me a moment and I shall.
Is it?
Oh, wait a second.
That's fast. I feel like it just got announced.
Uno momento, por favor. Let me double check. I might have read wrong about that. Joseph, how much experience do you actually have with that series?
So I played the first 3 games, and I think I watched you play the 4th one, and I've seen you play the 5th one a bit. So yeah. I'm not well versed in it though.
Let's see. That's okay. I think that'll work out.
I'm not a scholar like you are.
Oh, okay. So production expected to wrap. Oh no, this is a couple years out. Dang, I thought for some reason this was way closer to coming out. Okay, so I have time to replay the games, which I'll be doing at some point. Let's go to Forbes again. That should be good. We can talk about that for a minute. Okay. What do you... I mean, they haven't released a ton about it. We have one image and a majority of the major casting at this point.
What's your question? I'm sorry.
What are you kind of thinking so far? Like what temperature wise?
Well, I think I sent you a screenshot. I think we were texting about it one day, and I sent you a screenshot, and I was like, "What do you think about this?" Because I was thinking in my head at the time, this seems a bit off. It's too clean and clear and costumey. Like it seems too more. What do they go to? They go to like San Diego Con and Comic Con. What's it called when they dress up as characters?
Cosplay.
Cosplay. It seems like cosplay.
And
that's not good, but it's just a still. It's one still. It's not a trailer.
I know.
It just doesn't look. Nothing about it looks right.
To
me.
I don't think I have any footage of the first game. Okay, so the thing that will be interesting to me, the beard looks weird. Doesn't look right. Now again, it is just a still. It looks like they just took it on a camera. Like if this is an actual screenshot, like from the camera they're using to film. So I don't know if they just did this because they're trying to get a promotional material out there, like, hey, this is what we're doing. I don't know. I know what this scene is specifically from, and there's not enough snow, which is some people might call it a nitpick, but in the game, it's they're hunting a deer or an elk, or it's a magical like deer. And Kratos is trying to teach Atreus how to hunt. It's like he's, trying to do this like fatherly figure thing. One of the things that I particularly like about the newer God of War games, so technically 4 and 5, is that it's a redemption and it's like a redemption story. It's a father and son story. And it's something that I think generally is quite hopeful, because of sort of like where it goes and a lot of the you can call them themes, but a lot of the arcs of the characters throughout the course of the 2 games that they've put out so far. Mind you, we're only like 2 games in, and they've pretty much told the story they're going to tell as far as like that part of Kratos, which I think is fine. They've done what they need to do. They don't need to like, they're thinking about doing like spin-offs and stuff now, which I'm hesitant about, but and it's not like, you could call it a spoiler or whatever, but it's literally mentioned like right as you start the 4th game. But Kratos essentially remarries, because there's a lot of like lore to those first 3 games, and he remarries, ends up in sort of the Norse mythology, it's like Helheim and Valhalla and all that. There's like Valkyries, and Odin exists and his sons, and like so on and so forth. And they're aware of like who Kratos is, and so he ends up there and gets remarried, has a son, and Freya? No, not Freya, sorry. His wife's name's slipping my mind at the moment. Anyway, she dies, and so that first game is like them taking her ashes to be spread in her like realm. So there's like a big,
interesting.
Yeah, there's like a big portal in the middle. I don't know if Jenna's still in there. This is actually how Jenna and I met, was when I was playing Ragnarok. Yeah. He popped into the chat one day, and he's been hanging out ever since. But yeah, so it's like essentially the face of the story is that they're trying to go basically put Kratos' wife to rest, and obviously Atreus' mother. And they basically run into a portion of the pantheon of the Norse gods in the first one, and then the rest of them kind of show up in the second one. And there's like hints and little things in the first one that like let you know sort of like what's going on, and it's telling you about certain characters. Actually, I guess Freya is in the first game. I think if I remember right, it has been a few years since I've played the games. And I think she like helps you. Oh yeah, she does, because her son. So like Freya was married to Odin, and then her son Balder, who can't die, he's immortal. And he wants to die, and he thinks Kratos can help him do that. And he basically won't leave them alone. So it's like he's like hunting Kratos through this story or whatever. And they go to see Freya to try to like fix the problem, and it just like causes some interesting things to happen that I won't give away right now, even though the games are a few years old at this point. It's such a great story to experience. The second one gets, I would say, too much flack for the obvious like race swap that they did in it. It's also like
what they do.
Well, they turned they made Agrabah black, and it's like this is
okay.
It's Norse mythology. These are Nordic people. They are white. But I will say she's barely in the game for the most part. She's got like a pretty minor role in it, so whatever. But and that part of the game's actually kind of the worst part of it. The second game has a couple like minor problems, but you would think based on chatter online that it's literally one of the worst games that's ever come out, and it's not. It just isn't. It's not fair. And it's I would say it's bad critique to say that it's bad. Like you call out that stuff for what it is, but like don't make it out to be something that it isn't. And I think that it's got so much good to it, and I think that Kratos as a character and the way that they decided to develop him from where he was in the original trilogy makes a lot of sense. And I like that they did that. And so I'm curious, but also not real hopeful about what they might do with this version of it. Because I think it's a story that you could easily mess up. And it's a lot of people are saying they don't understand why they're starting with the Norse story in a setting that like a lot of people who might watch this on Amazon, they're not going to have the same kind of context that a lot of people who played the 2018 game did for who Kratos was.
Right.
Like God of War was huge. Those first three games were very big. People really liked them. I mean, they're kind of like, pulpy, violent action games about this kind of like irredeemable character or whatever. And, he kind of gets what's coming to him in the end. But despite a lot of the problems that the story in those have, it's too much time travel-y nonsense in it.
Right.
The ending for Kratos in that made a lot of sense. It's like, what did the revenge cost him? And what did it not only cost him, but the effect that it had on the world that he lived in. And so what the two following games did was essentially look at that and go like, all right, well, what if he survives, and like what's he going to think about that over time, right? He's older. He meets someone who loves him and is very kind and accepts him for who he is, but like wants him to change. And like, what does that look like now when he's having to raise a son of his own? And the potential for like certain things to pass down to his son. And it's awesome. I think I mentioned this to you a while back on one of the episodes, but it's mature in a way that we don't see from a lot of things. It's like we were talking about with Night of the Seven Kingdoms. A lot of people see those things as like, oh, we have to put like boobies and like penises and stuff in our show because that's the stuff that makes it mature. When in reality, there's so much more like going on where it's like a mature story is something that is specifically garnered towards adults, which also means it might have deeper themes. It might make you think a little bit more, which is
a very superficial and immature way to think that, oh, hey, what makes a movie adult is to have nudity in it.
Yeah.
That's really mature.
Yeah.
It's like that's something in my opinion that a kid would think.
Mm-hmm. And
makes a movie mature and adult rather than what you just said, the themes, characterization, subtext, the dialogue in the movie, through lines, being poignant and resonating with you.
For me, it's very similar to sort of the litmus test that I have with people who have seen Lord of the Rings and think that Boromir's like a bad guy. And there's probably, you could say there's like a spectrum to this a little bit, but like it doesn't mean that like you're hopeless, but it means that there's like a certain level of maturity and looking at a piece of art or work that someone has put a lot of time into, and you're just not understanding what they're getting across there, like the subtleties of it and the depth of it. And like there is a certain level of maturity that comes along with those things. And And this is like God of War, especially the two, the 2018 game and Ragnarok. They're both going for like you could call it higher brow, but like more mature storytelling than you see from a lot of video games. Right. And it is a bit unfortunate that people will look at that and go, we don't want that, and then they'll look at something like Resident Evil 9 and be like, that story's awesome, when it's just like a giant pile of trash. And you kind of can't let the crowd like get to you when it's like you standing up against like everyone and being like, you're wrong about this. Like there's a major difference in these two things. Not that it doesn't have flaws, but it's trying to do something that you don't typically see. It also gets called like a movie game more often than it does, which is a disservice to like the combat system that they have in it. It's a tough game. Jenna can tell you he's beaten it on like the hardest difficulty. It's not easy.
Jeez.
I was like, nah, dude, I'm not doing that.
Her.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it now. I need to see I need to see more. I need to see like a trailer, see what they're going for. Who knows what the point of, other than like trying to start their sort of marketing campaign, why they decided to go with this picture. I don't think it was the right choice. But I'll say I do like a lot of the casting. I think they got a good bit of the casting correct.
That's good.
So one of the most interesting things, some of the voice actors from the game are playing the same characters.
Oh, nice.
So
that's cool.
Thor is being played by the same guy. And now I think they might have done mocap for it as well. So that has a lot to do with it. So they're just basically bringing them into the show. And then the guy, one of the most important characters who spends a lot of time with Kratos in this is Mimir. He's basically a decapitated magical head that hangs on his side. And they have a lot of conversation. So like there's like this, I think it's in the second game, there's like this whole thing with Mimir and like essentially his ex-wife, and Kratos is like helping him through his problems. But Mimir is like, he's very wise, but he's also funny, and they got the same guy who voiced him to come back. So I don't know how exactly they're going to handle it, but that was the only choice. And so that alone at least deserves to give them a little bit of praise for. Because otherwise, I just don't think trying to mimic that works as well as just having the person who did it. Because you can do CG with that, you can have him as his like actual head, but it's his cadence, the way that he does line delivery. That's going to get you as close as you possibly can to what at least fans are going to want from that. So I'm curious. I'm interested to see what they do. It's kind of exciting in a weird way. And I hope they get it right. I hope this is not another Rings of Power. I hope that like when this comes out, you and I have like a lot to talk about with it, right, and that there's things to like praise with it, and that we actually get to have a little bit of fun watching something. Because man, that's gonna see if that's.
It'd be nice to, like it was with A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, to watch something that is actually enjoyable.
Next year could be, because I think they said, so they're going to wrap in 27, it looks like. I thought I read that. Now I can't find it again. I was looking through here. It will almost certainly not arrive until 27, which is fine. But that means if it comes out next year, Joseph, that means we're getting Night of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2, Rings of Power Season 2, and God of War all in the same year.
And I wonder about, too, Warhammer when we'll get that.
When we'll see that, yeah. Hopefully we'll be getting some news about that soon. Did you see the trailer for Henry Cavill's new movie? His new Guy Ritchie?
See the trailer for what?
It's called In the Gray.
No.
You haven't seen that? You should check it out. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. It could be interesting. looks like it might be better than what was the last one he did? The League of Gentlemen or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
Where it was basically him just like killing Nazis for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Which like I enjoyed, but I mean that's all it really is. Like it's not a
the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Yeah, that's it. So this has a little bit more of like spy espionage type stuff going on. And it's him and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
And they're the morally gray guys, like going in to do the things that nobody else, can handle or whatever. So the trailer's cool. It's got like I would call good energy to it, the way that it's like edited and kind of the style that they're going for. So if the movie's like that, it might be all right. We'll see. I think we've talked about it before, but like Guy Ritchie's kind of hit or miss for me. Like I like some stuff that he does, and then other stuff that he does, I'm like, no, not quite. Apparently, we're supposed to be getting The Gentleman season 2 this year as well, which I liked season 1, so I'm hoping that is true. All right, what else do we need to talk about? That's all the big stuff, I think.
I think you said you were going to talk about Scream 7.
Oh, yeah, okay. Scream 7.
So you saw it this past weekend, right?
I did unfortunately watch it.
Okay, so give your thoughts.
So these movies have been going downhill, I think, pretty much since the first one. I would probably tell you there's almost nothing to praise in this movie. It is
nostalgia bait.
It's derivative of everything that came before it. It's nowhere near as good or like it I don't know where I was going with that, but like yeah, it's so there was some controversy with the main actress from the last one. She got in trouble for some political opinions with Hollywood. She wasn't. She was not aligned with, the cardboard, or what is it, the Overton window, or the she decided to step out of that and made some statements, and basically got. I can't remember I don't think she quit. I think they kicked her off, and then Jenna Ortega. At least this is the official report, right? She, in solidarity with her, said she wasn't coming back either. And so they were the two main characters of the last two movies, which really aren't very good. These movies have made a ton of money. I think even Scream 7 has made money. I'd have to go look. I think these movies, for the most part, have progressively made more money as they're going on, and they're cheap to make. You're putting somebody in a black robe with the Scream mask on, and they're going around killing people. So you probably have a pretty low special effects budget, and most of it is just the occasional bits of gore or whatever. The kills are uninspired, which might sound weird, but it's one of the things that you're supposed to believe when you're watching a movie like this is that the person behind the mask is actually able to outsmart the people in this movie. Most of the cast is dumb as a bag of bricks. A majority of this movie is them standing around talking about nothing. It's not like Scream was always supposed to be a little more fun than a lot of its other counterparts. It started out as a bit of a satire on slasher films at the time. So when the original one came out, it was you could almost call it a sharp satire of the other slashers from 80s and 90s time period. You literally had a guy who it wasn't breaking the fourth wall, but he knew everything about these kinds of movies, and it was helping his friends stay alive. They still sort of have that, but they're pretty dumb. And then there's like this running joke now with these two characters that they both get like stabbed in the movie and then just show up at the end of the movie alive. And it's haha. It was like, okay, like I see what you're doing the first time, but this is now the third time you've done this, and it's like, are y'all out of ideas?
Yeah, right.
This movie,
just let it go.
The biggest sin that this movie makes is that they give multiple people firearms in this movie. Multiple people who you are told know how to use these things. And at every moment, they either decide not to use them, don't know how to use them, or say really stupid things when it comes to the process of using a firearm. There's stuff where they're like, no, you gotta, like, next time aim for the head. It's like, no, you don't aim for the head. You aim for like body because that's the biggest mass on your target. You're most likely to hit there. It's also why people wear body armor. But at the same time, like, if you get shot, it's gonna hurt. And even if you have body armor on to like protect you, like it's not gonna feel good. It potentially is gonna knock the wind out of you. And when you find out who the two killers are in this, you're like, oh, dude, there's no way y'all would have survived that. Like, you would have survived probably, but like you would not have been able to do the things that you're doing. Dude, these guys are getting hit in the face with all sorts of huge objects. Like it's so frustrating to watch and be like, guys, I know this is a movie, but like it doesn't work like this. It's not, the movie's just like not clever. It's not when they tell you who the killers are, like it's not the most, I wouldn't say it's like obvious, but it's not the fault of the audience not being able to figure it out. I just don't think the writing's clever enough to have like pulled it off. And when they do it, you're just like, oh, you're like, that's what it was. And what all of it wraps up in being is it's just tired. You know, we're 7 movies. Yep. We're 7 movies into this. Nobody has any new ideas for this.
Just end it. That's the problem that nowadays is with a lot of these reboots and sequels is that companies just don't know how to story. Let me phrase it. It's either the storytellers or companies or both don't know how to end a story. Like, it's good to have the definitive endpoint. It doesn't have to continue. I know that's kind of from in my mind, the comic book world with superheroes and stuff. It's, always the next story, but it's good to have a finish point and let it be that,
Well, and unfortunately, these movies are making a lot of money because they're pretty cheap to make. So,
right.
I don't know when this is going away.
Never.
Now, I will say I had mentioned to a few people at work that I really didn't like this, and there was actually somewhat of a consensus from some of them that it wasn't good. So just because this one made money doesn't mean that goodwill is going to carry over into the next one. If people were excited for this one, went to see it, they were disappointed, they may be more reserved in trying to go see another one.
I got you.
So it's possible. There'll be another sequel to this. It's got the girl. You might know who I'm talking about. She was in Run, Hide, Fight. It was that Daily Wire produced movie about the school shooter. She's the main character in this. She's like fine. The cast they don't give the cast anything to do. It's kind of just and then. It's that like I could almost guess that some sort of like AI was used heavily in the writing because it's just very like basic, and her friends aren't characterized very well. They're not very interesting. The story is really about like her and her mom, because her mom's the original final girl from the first movie. And so it's supposed to, again, it's a nostalgia thing. Everybody's trying to circle back these days. It's funny how much like we've been talking about this stuff that Hunt for Gollum, Resident Evil, Scream. I'm sure there's some other stuff we're missing. That's like, this is kind of where we're at again, is like, hey, we're going back to like where, like, oh, this was the beginning. Like, we gotta
Past,
we gotta keep talking about this stuff over and over again. And
it's like, okay, like, it's like I told you with, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. The only thing I was gonna say is, it's like, by the time they get to like the end of this, and spoiler, I guess, all of her friends get slaughtered in this. Like, none of them survive. Like, the only people that survive this are people from previous movies. And it's weird that that's the case. And then they sort of have this like girls get it done moment, which I laughed a little bit at. It's actually it's kind of funny. I don't know if they meant for it to be, but I found it kind of humorous. But they finish that, and then it's just like, don't worry, things will get better. And it's like, she literally, like, the bodies of all of the people she was closest to that they were talking about and going to go to a party before all of this happened. Like, they're high school kids, right? They're all gone. Like, she does not have any friends anymore. They're like, none of them are around, and it just doesn't have. It's just like, that would affect you. Like, that would do something to you. But I feel like with a lot of modern writing, they don't do that stuff anymore. They don't consider the consequences of the writing and the actions of what's going on in their script and how that would affect a character. And I find it really weird. I think I heard Gary mention this recently, but it's what it is for a lot of people is it's just a gig, you know? It's the same for a lot of people making these movies now that I think it is for like the general public, where they're just going to their job and it's like, it's just a job. You know, there's no love for it. There's no like desire to really like go and make something special anymore. It's all about like, I just got to get a paycheck. I'm just here to light the scene. I'm just here to, you know, try to write a reasonable script so that we can get this like going through the machine. You know, it's the whole like content generation thing. I think it's affected Hollywood quite a bit, and you're seeing it from stuff like this, which clearly it works to some degree because the movie made a lot of money. But I don't know. Yep. Doesn't mean that it's good. Yeah, it just like overall like there's nothing. That's really all there is to say about it. Because like I was saying, it's so and then that like the review would be me like telling you what happens, and then it being like, oh well, and then this person like dropped a gun, and instead of picking it back up and like killing this guy, they fist fight. You know, like
yeah,
it's very weird. Because like I think her name is Sydney. Forgive me, I've forgotten. Yeah, Sydney Prescott. She's like been through like a lot of terrible things in her life, finally bought a firearm. So you're like, hey, someone kind of doing something smart. And then like worried that something could happen to her family. By the way, her husband is a cop, doesn't teach their 17-year-old daughter how to handle a firearm. Like, what are you doing? And it's like a weird reveal at the end of the movie. She's like, I don't know how to use this. And it's like, y'all didn't teach her. No one thought that might be useful for her. Like, her father's a cop, and her mother is like essentially the survivor of like multiple mass murders. And you didn't think this would be a good idea. Just to, like, hey, just in case, right? Maybe let's just go. Let's teach you how to do this. It's nuts. It boggles my mind. But yeah, it's terrible. Can't recommend. Boo. Not the worst movie I've seen this year, though.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. But everything on my list... Oh, except for one thing. I won't talk about this week. Pretty much everything on my list that I've seen this year that is new, it's all been terrible. I mean, I know we're only in March, and it's only movies. Night of the Seven Kingdoms is still like the best thing that...
Oh yeah,
by
it's
far
end
this
up
year.
The best thing.
Yeah, movies. There's still a lot of stuff I haven't seen. But I don't know, man. It might not be another very good year for movies. I know it's only March. There's still plenty of time.
We'll see.
But I was thinking about it today, and then you haven't talked about this. We can talk about it next week if you want to. One of the girls that I work with, I had said that I was like, I literally everything. I haven't liked anything that I've seen in like movie wise this year, and she's like, me either, except for Wuthering Heights. I saw that, and I was like, oh. I was like, oh, and then I was like,
that was terrible.
And the only thing I said to her, I was like, well, movie's not really targeted at me, is it? Not exactly the demographic for that movie.
Right.
Yeesh. Yeah. What? How bad was it? You don't have to give me a whole. You don't have to give me a whole rundown.
It was bad, dude. It was probably. Yeah, I'd give it a 2. Oh no, I'd give it a half star. Yeah, half star.
Dang.
Only because you gotta rate above. Yeah,
you can't just give it a 0 star. We don't allow 0.
I'm not really gonna care. I'm not gonna really care about I'm not gonna weigh so much. The production design was good. The set design was good. The costume was good. Acting was good. The sound design was fine. All that stuff, but story wise and everything just brought it really, really down.
Yeah,
a demented movie.
All right. You heard it here, everybody. All right. Well, next week it's not a movie. We'll see.
It's One Piece.
We're gonna review One Piece. Is the whole thing out? I don't know.
I don't know.
I do not know. I do not know. Let's see. What are you thinking? You think it might turn out okay? Have you seen anybody really like talking about it much?
No, I haven't seen anyone talking about it. Until you told me it was out, I had forgotten it.
I did too, and I happened to get on X, and someone was like, binge watch it. Oh, it's actually like the first thing when I pulled this up. The answer is yes. Wait, no, that's season 1. The answer is yes. All 8 episodes are out.
Oh, nice. Okay,
so we will review the entire thing next week. Sweet. I'll do a little recording, so we've got some nice video for it. That'll be fun. Try to keep things. Let's see. So if that's 8 episodes, we need to do like 8 minutes an episode. I'm sure certain episodes will stand out more than others, and we'll just focus on that. But yeah, we'll give our I have only ever watched like a couple episodes of the anime. I just never 1,000+ episodes is pretty tough for me. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, right.
I need to maybe watch a recap of season 1 because like I kind of remember, but I feel like, and I don't want to go back and watch all of season 1 again. Cool. All right, dude. Well, please don't like the live action One Piece. It's awful. I thought season 1 was all right. It has its ups and downs. Especially with a lot of what other stuff that we've gotten, there's like things to appreciate about it. But I know, anime purists and people who like love that, I don't think most of them have a love for this, which is fine. I think that's totally okay. Live action anime is the biggest mistake ever. They did. Joseph, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. Netflix announced that they're going to do a live action version of this anime called Samurai Champloo, which is like pretty big in the early 2000s. And they have said that they learned their mistakes from Cowboy Bebop, which I think is really funny. And they announced that, and I go, man, I haven't watched that in a while. It's like I should get that on like Blu-ray. Just funny. It always
Zendaya has now been cast in The Hunt for Gollum.
You're lying. You're lying.
I got it.
That is a lie. What's funny about that is it's just believable enough. Is she playing Aragorn? She has to be playing Aragorn, right? She's the obvious
Exactly.
She's the obvious choice for that. Alrighty, folks. Yeah, we don't like our beloved stories being butchered by people who don't like it or want to DEI it. Fair enough, Jenna. Yeah, there's a lot. They did a lot of race swapping in that show. It's quite multi-culty, which is always really interesting. Yeah, but we're gonna do it anyway. We'll see. All right, Joseph, you got anything else?
I do not.
All right, dude. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of The Underground. We'll be back next week talking about One Piece. We'll probably do A Night of the Seven Kingdoms news, too, with some of the casting and everything. I'll get some articles together for that.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll be reviewing One Piece. So until then, y'all, take it easy.
See ya.
Hooray! Good job.